One of the challenge with artificial intelligence, like ChatGPT and others, is the notion of hallucination. What happens with hallucinations is that AI tends to give you results that are inaccurate, incomplete, or just completely made up. So, for example, I'm looking at results that I got on my Salesforce for an account overview tier sheet prompt. This prompt basically looks at an account, all the related opportunities and cases, and generates a summary, objection, and sentiment that is completely based on all the information that is provided from Salesforce to OpenAI. Now, what can happen in this scenario is that I may be getting a sentiment of neutral, whereas on this case, the sentiment may have been negative. The concerns here in terms of objections may also be made up by AI and may not exist in the real data itself. This is the problem called as hallucination that you see with generative AI. How do you deal with it? The challenge with this is that it reduces the trust in the solution, and your users start to think that while AI gives them something, it may not be right. That's a really big adoption challenge, and it can lead to potentially corrupt information that may have business impact. So what can we do to address this? There are actually three areas to consider when we are looking at. The first one is the design of prompt itself. So here is an example of a prompt which we were just looking at. Under the hood, this prompt has a certain set of instructions. And what you can see here is that these instructions are clear and specific. It's extremely important that your prompt tells as accurately as possible what is the expected outcome. We are saying that the summaries should be in third person. We are asking it to objectively condense this. So the more clarity, specificity, simplicity, and context we can provide to prompts, the less is the potential of AI hallucinating. As you can see, there is a fair bit of detail here, and you can add a lot. There is a ton of work going on in this space, along with the idea of chain of thought and other such techniques. Bottom line is, the more information we provide to clearly communicate, the better result sets we'll get back from it. That's the first thing that we can do. Let's take a look at the second thing, which is really the set of settings around here. So if you look at the AI model that we are going against for this prompt, that AI model is OpenAI running on Microsoft Azure. And one of the things you see there is this setting called temperature. What happens with temperature is a way of us communicating to AI to keep this as accurate as possible. Temperature controls the randomness of the response. The lower the temperature, the lower the randomness. What that means is the lower the temperature, the more predictable and conservative responses is what you get. On the other hand, if you want AI to be imaginative, you turn the temperature up. At higher temperature, AI will give you more varied and creative outputs. What that means is that the potential of hallucination tends to increase. So by changing the temperature, we can control the degree of imagination and potential for hallucination with our AI models. Another useful setting is top P. Top P is a sampling setting that ChatGPT and other generative models use to determine how big is the set of text from which they are selecting tokens, which is words or pieces of words. The lower the top P, the lower is the possibility of hallucination. And by increasing top P, you can potentially add more chances. By increasing the top P, your model can offer sort of irrelevant, nonsensical context or hallucination. So those are the two settings that you can tweak at the AI model level to ensure that you're able to avoid hallucination. The third part of this is based on choice of model and human feedback. A lot of different models have different tendency to hallucinate in different data context. So there is a little bit of trial and error in figuring out what models work well for you. Say with a Turbo 3.5 or GPT-4 may work better, or you may use Google Vertex or Anthropic Cloud or something else from AWS Bedrock. There is a bit of trial and error here, which is unique to your data context, your use cases, and things like that. Finally, one of the most important aspects is user feedback. You can collect feedback from your users to ensure that there is a human element in your quality control. Here is an example of how that is built into GPTfy for sales. You can do a thumbs up or thumbs down. If I think this is inaccurate, I can go here and tell it that this was a partial or a made up response. And I can put specific information of why I thought that was the case. And this information is then shared with your admins or other people who are designing and engineering these prompts. In addition, it shows up on the AI Insights dashboard so that you can constantly monitor which specific prompts are more susceptible to hallucination. And that way there can be more optimization done to the prompts in terms of having more clear instructions in terms of changing the temperature and top P settings or trying out different models. Hallucination is a really significant problem for a number of customers that we have spoken with, and it's important to address this so that your end users have trust in the AI that they use. I hope this was useful. Thank you so much.